Hey guys, welcome back to the Cheney's TCG store. Today I got a market watch and we have quite a few topics to go over. First off, I'm going to give you an update on like what happened with the structure decks that came like out of the box. Pretty interesting story. Two, we're also going to go over Handtraps, Ghost Girls, and then also some of the other ones as well that have been moving up quite a bit in price. Three, I'm going to be announcing a giveaway that I will be doing shortly. And then four, we're also going to go over some picks that I have, or like my top picks that you could get right now from Ghosts from the Past that are like really cheap and could potentially go up, or they're already so low that there's just really not anywhere else lower for them to go. But with that aside, I guess we'll go ahead and get into the TCG player story. So where we left off with it is basically the seller on TCG Player sent me 3 unsealed structure decks, Albaz structure decks, and basically wrote me a note saying that they were trying to save on shipping, whatever. So I know you guys said like let us know what happens next. So I did reach out to them, and they replied pretty fast, but their reply was like honestly hilariously bad. They basically said to go screw myself, but not really. What they said was the decks are still sealed. Well, first they snapped at me and said, well, I don't have any more. And then they said, and then second, those decks are sealed, they just didn't come in the box. And that was pretty much all they said. And then I did reply back saying, well, that doesn't mean sealed. I mean, they're sealed, yes, technically in plastic wrap, but it's sealed means it comes in the original packaging, and obviously not tampered with. And then it's been like 2 or 3 days since I replied back, saying that I, basically was upset. I didn't say I was upset, but I told them that I really wanted them sealed with the box for an investment, and that I would have appreciated being contacted and asked if, taking them out of the box was okay. That way I could, say, no, that's not okay. And we could just cancel the order and be done right there. And they haven't replied to me. So, I mean, I have been pretty busy, so I haven't had time to really go back and deal with it. But I'll probably just contact TCG Player like I usually have to when you're dealing with sellers that don't really want to work with you, which is unfortunate. And it's kind of a waste of time. But with that aside, I'm going to move on to the market watch. First, we have Ghost Mourner and Moonlit Chill. The original print is from Eternity Code. And if you've been watching the market, a lot of the first edition secret rare Ghost Girls have been going up quite a bit in price. So we'll take a look at the original print first. And it is going for around $28. And I have mixed feelings about getting this at this price because I do feel like it's not going to see play for probably a little while, and it could simmer down a little bit. But I think at this point, this has nothing to do with if it's seeing play right now. It's more to do with just people wanting to collect the secret rare Ghost Girls, and people thinking that it's a good investment because they're pointing to like, look at Ghost Ogre, look at Ash Blossom, look where those went. But and I definitely get that. This card isn't bad per se. It's not like a Winter Cherries where it's just a bad card. Well, Winter Cherries isn't bad either, but it's just very specific. It's just not as strong as some other hand traps you can play. I do think it can be really good. It just depends on the format. And especially if you're playing like a 60 card deck that's focused on playing a lot of hand traps, and just having tuners available to, use for synchro summons, this card's actually played and is pretty good, because it is also still like an effect veiler and can do some effect damage, which is decent, but it can be really good if, in the third game if you start going into time. But yeah, I don't think this is necessarily a bad price. There was, obviously better prices to get it at, and I too didn't buy it when I should have, when it was at the 16 or 17 mark. It had been at that 17 or 16 to 18 mark for a long time before the Mega Tins. And then when the reprint got dropped, it didn't really tank the price like whatsoever. I kept waiting for it to hit like 10 to 14, but it just really never did. And now it's turned back around. I've kind of forgotten about this card, other than I have gotten some of the lower rarity ones. in the meantime, just because there's not very many printings of this card to date. With that said, if you want to get these, I think it's not bad. I think it'll definitely be higher than this over time, like probably more back towards that original $40 mark. So if you want to do that, that's perfectly fine, but you do risk, you know, missing a better buy option. But if you don't want to risk it and you just really want this for your collection, you know, absolutely go for it. Looking at the other versions, we have an ultra rare that has been trending up in price as well. You could have got these for under $1, and this is one of the best pickups from the mega tints. But now they're going more towards like $3, I believe. Yep, $3, and no one really has stacks of these except for when you start getting, you know, towards $3.20. But if you're looking for like a near mint version, there's just not stacks of these. Like if you're seeing what I'm seeing. Here's the first stack. So $3 is actually not too bad. I would maybe go for that. I mean, unfortunately, you could have got a lot cheaper, like I said, but I still think this card could go higher, especially for the ultra rare printing. But going back, the ones that I've invested in a few copies of are the gold rares, because I got them for like 75 cents a piece. And I think these are also starting to move up a little bit in price. So yeah, they're like $2, and I bought these very recently. And if you didn't know, there's two versions. So you have the gold rare original like artwork, and then you also have the alternative artwork. I'll see if I can get that one up too to see if that price has changed much. So good. Or okay, this is also $2, so they're about the same price. I got a play set of each one just because it was like kind of a low risk investment. I do like the artwork on this one as well too, and this is the only like card that you can get this artwork with, or only version you can get it in so far. But I was like, you know, I might as well give one of, you know, a play set of each in case people like go for the alt art or, you know, whatever, or people stick with the original art. I think it's a good thing to diversify sometimes. And these were actually cheaper, I think, or they're not really cheaper. They were like maybe pennies cheaper, but there was like more stacks for the cheaper price. But yeah, that's all I have to say. I mean, this card is good. I would just make sure that you have your copies. We've seen what Ghost Girls can do, especially the ones that don't have very many printings. Moving on, Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood. I wanted to highlight this card because I do have one Unlim Secret Rare and one first edition Secret Rare that I got for like $5 like a couple of years ago. But the Unlims, I'm gonna try to filter and get rid of these. I hate the foreign pictures. I really do. I guess the other thing too, while I don't want to wait till the end of the video, but the giveaway, I'm going to be giving away a first edition pack of Duelist Alliance. And the plan is to make it official like on the next market watch that I do with the White Mexican, but I will also keep track of who's like liking and commenting on this video as well, so you'll also be eligible for the giveaway. I don't know when we'll do the video. I'll do the video with the White Mexican because we're both kind of busy right now, but it'll probably be sometime next week, I imagine, or yeah, it could be a while. So I'll just go ahead and put this out there now. It's gonna be a while before I actually call the winner, like maybe, you know, 2 weeks, but I just wanted to go ahead and get that out there. But moving on, the filters didn't really do anything, unfortunately. Light play on them is $7.25 with $1.25 shipping. Near mints are $9. Honestly, I would not really invest in the unlims in this card. I really wouldn't even invest in this card in general, unless you want it for your Ghost Girl collection, because it is kind of high in price right now relative to where it has been. I think it's just a little bit of the Ghost Sister hype. Yeah, if you look here, I actually have the lowest listing. I'm trying to get rid of mine at $22, so definitely don't buy this. Like, if you really need one for your collection, like just comment and I'll hook you up with a better deal. Not that I'm trying to sell to any of y'all or anything, but $22 for this card is ridiculous. Like I said, I paid $5 for this card. And this card will probably never see play, but it could continue to go up a little bit just because people do want like their first edition Ghost Girls. But I'm not really going to go over the other versions because I just can't imagine this card seeing play. So none of them are really a good investment, especially right now. Next is Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion. It looks like the secret rares have calmed down actually to where they have been recently. They were up towards like above 100, well over 100 for the first edition, like 170. Let's see. I'm trying to pay attention as well because I want to see what they're priced at. Oh my gosh, $90 almost for Near Mint Unlimited. I got one of these. I got an unlim because the first editions were kind of always worth a little bit of money, but I got the unlim version for, I remember $12. It was 2.5 years ago, like kind of, it was probably one of the first investments I made and ended up selling it for like 40, like a year ago, 35 or 40 or something like that. And the plan was to pick up a first edition, but I just never did. This says light play first edition. This guy has good feedback, but he says dent on front does not show on back whatsoever. Near mint besides that. I'm gonna look at the pictures because that's not too bad. Interested to see what constitutes a dent. That's unfortunate because it's on the foiling. If it was on the side, it probably wouldn't be. I mean, it's still a decently sized dent. It's probably blown out of proportions a little bit by the lighting and, you know, being zoomed in. I think he's going to struggle to sell this at light play. I would be comfortable getting this for like $50 with that dent, just because, not because I don't think it's like terrible, but you're just gonna have a hard time selling something when it's got a dent in the artwork. I have an ultimate rare that's like that, where it does have a little dimple like on the actual foiling, but it's a lot smaller than this, but it's still like kind of like, if I try to sell it, and it's an old ultimate rare too, if I try to sell this, it's going to be very difficult. I'm almost don't even want to sell it because I don't want to deal with the hassle if I try to sell like a mod play or whatever, and people are like, this is damage. So it's almost not even worth it to sell cards that have dents in them. A lot of times, like if I'm doing like quality control when I'm sending cards out and I notice a dent, I just give them a refund and say, I'm sorry, but when I was going through quality control, it looks like there's a dent. So I'm just going to give you a full refund, and that way I don't have to like sit and pay for return shipping or, you know, deal with it. And I feel like it's better for them too, because they don't need to waste their time trying to send it back or message me or send pics or what, you know, whatever. So I try to just nip that problem in the bud before it blossoms into something a lot worse. Anyways, I kind of rambled on there for a second, sorry. We will check out what like the better condition ones are going for. 98 and then 99 for near mint. It's definitely a lot cheaper than what they were going for like a week ago, but still pretty expensive. I still think it could come down from here. To be honest, I don't know that I would buy it at $100. I could be wrong. Maybe it just skyrockets from here and never comes back down. But I have seen this skyrocket before and it did come back down. So we'll see. I mean, this card will be pretty good, this format. So it might be, you know, quite expensive for a little while. But as we've seen with this card and Ghost Ogre in the past, usually when they fall off the map, they kind of go down in price. I do think we will get to a point eventually where people will finally realize that you just need hand traps at all times, because the game changes so quickly and so much that people will stop, you know, listing them when they're not using them. That time will come. Is it here yet? You know, it could be for sure. So we just need to keep our eye on it and make sure that you at least have low rarity copies to play with at all times, because you know, you don't want to get in a situation where you're, you know, offloading your low rarity ones for, you know, $3 profit each, and then you don't have them, and then all of a sudden, like, you're gonna have to pay $20 per card to get, you know, the card that you sold for $5, which has happened to me for sure. And then we're going to look at the other versions as well, just quickly. I'm not going to spend too much time on hand traps because, I mean, everybody knows what these do. I just kind of wanted to highlight the prices and where things are going, and if there's any cards that you should still pick up. Everything else doesn't look like it's changed. It's still, just everything is expensive here. Like everything is like any of these copies are gonna be over $12. The alt art is the cheapest, it looks like. But honestly, if you were gonna pick between the gold and the altar, I would go with the alternative art, just because it's going to hold up a little bit better, although Dual Devastator doesn't have the best quality sometimes either. Next is Meister. This one's a little bit underrated. Not necessarily for this format, but just in general. This does have a collector rare, that's not in here. But I wouldn't invest in the collector rare, to be honest with you. It looks like amazing. If you want to get one, I mean, I wouldn't argue with you. I don't think that it's a bad buy, but I just think that there's better cards you can get for the money. But really the best copy here to get, to play with is going to be the super rare, which is looking pretty cheap right now. The secret rares look really good as well, but you're still paying quite a bit for those. They really haven't come down that much in price. These are going for 50 cents a piece, and this is the only holo version that's not over $25. So and we quickly go to $1.20. There are some like cheaper ones here that have a little bit more expensive shipping. But this is something I would keep on your radar for sure. I mean, just in general, having, every hand trap out there that's, reasonable. Don't get some hand trap that was printed in, 2008. But this is just a very solid hand trap. It just really depends on what's going around in the format. Typically, you wouldn't play this over a ghost spell. But in some formats where ghost spell is just outrageously good, you want to play more of her. So you kind of can also play this. But this is a little bit different than what ghost spell does, like as far as its graveyard effect negation. This like shuts down everything, whereas ghost spell, you can't banish cards and you can't special summon cards from the graveyard, which is mainly everything, but there could be more. But I still think this is a good card, especially for budget players that now can't afford a ghost spell. Like just a great option for you. But we will take a look. There are some cheaper copies here. I would stay away from Power Code Link, absolutely. But if you wanted to load up on some rares, I mean, you can get these for like 25 cents a piece. I have like 15 to 20 of these stocked up. And I also have a playset of the super rares, which I really enjoy. The original print secret rare, $40 for light plate first edition. Let's see where near mint is. 43.50. Yeah, so me personally, because I really like Star Strike Blast and it's a really, really hard set to come by. Like it was a pretty short print set. And what I mean by that is not necessarily that there might've been short prints inside the set, but it was not like widely printed. But it was widely popular as well. So like these sold out like pretty quickly. I don't think you can get like this sealed anymore. But I would honestly rather have this than the collector rare for investment wise, and just because you can get 2 of these for the price of 1 collector rare. Just about. We'll take a look at the collector rare just because I'm curious. Like if it was under $70, it would probably be pretty good. But I think it's more. I think it's more than that. I think it's more towards like 90 to 100. It's 80 for light plate. Yeah, it's just a little expensive. I do want to find a picture of this if I can to show you what it looks like, because it is like an insanely good looking collector rare. There aren't any, unfortunately. The pictures don't do it justice for sure, but with all these skulls, it just looks really, really cool. So I don't know, maybe I'll take that back. I'll probably end up buying one of these one day, who knows? Just because the artwork alone is really good, even though I think the secret rare is probably a better investment. But we will see. I could be wrong on that. Maybe people just, I mean, because I think this looks better than the secret rare, but the secret rare to me is more rare. We'll move on and try not to ramble too much about this, because in the end, it's all, my opinion anyways. It's not fact. So we'll see what the market decides. Next is Infinite Impermanence. I'm going to breeze over this because I've talked about this so much recently. I just basically wanted to say, get your copies. I did want to look at the first edition secret rares just because we've seen a lot of these secret rare hand traps going up, and I was curious to see if this is well. Let's see, near mint 53, that's been pretty standard. Light play 57, that's pretty good if you want to get 2 copies. It has come down because it was more towards the 63 range. Let's see, yep, continuing going up. Near mints have been like around 65 to 70. 65, that's really, really good as well. The problem here is you still have that ultimate rare above it, but with that said, the ultimate rare is about 220 to 240. So this still has room to go up. It's not going to be, I think it's going to struggle to be 50% of the ultimate rare unless this card sees like a lot of play, which it could very well, any time because this card's really good. But just in general, if it's not seeing that much play, it's going to struggle to break 50% of the ultimate rare value. If it sees a lot of play, like say like Ghost Spell or Ash Blossom is right now, or I would say Forbidden Droplet, but Forbidden Droplet's kind of fallen off a little bit. This card could head back up towards like for light play first edition. I would say near mint unlimited kind of would cap at like $55 to $60. I really don't see it going past that. It's the only reason people would buy this is if they want the first edition print. So I think the light play first edition, you could probably see it up around, like 75 to 80, and like the near mint first edition towards 90 to 95. Realistically, I mean, it could go higher than that, but we'll have to see. Moving on, I have Effect Failure 2. I just wanted to point out that some of these copies have, chilled back out from where their high was. I'm going to look at the original print because I did have a first edition. Well, technically I still have a first edition, but I did have a first edition English version that I sold for $50, believe it or not. And this was maybe like 4 to 6 months ago. It was back when this card was like at its absolute peak. I just kind of wanted to see if it's worth buying back into now. And it's $30, so no, I wouldn't. So when I bought mine, I got a lightly played first edition English for, it was $12.99, and I ended up selling it for somewhere between 40 and 50. I can't remember exactly where, but it was somewhere in that range. And then I ended up getting a German first edition as well, which I can show you. I think I might have shown it before. Most likely I have. Let's see. Okay, here it is. It's kind of cool. I mean, there's a little bit of glare here. Let's see if I can fix that a little bit. It's kind of cool looking, but my thing is if you look at the German versus the English, the German kind of looks pretty close to what the Dual Devastator version looks like. It looks like a new card. It doesn't look like an old card, whereas the English version definitely does. It has for whatever reason, and this is usually the opposite, the English version is darker. It has bigger text, and the reason for that is just because the name's a lot shorter. And I don't know, it's just a little bit more rounded, whereas the German version looks like a little bit more like a modern card. But yeah, if you have foreign copies like German, especially where the name's really long, let me know if you agree. But yeah, I would I don't know if there's any foreign copies on here anymore. I probably wouldn't sell the German one because I got it for light play, but it's really more towards moderately played because there's a part of the name that's a little scrubbed off the card, which technically by TCG player standards, that is, you can still consider that light play if the rest of the card is in decent condition. But personally, like, to me, that's like the bare minimum is to have the name on the card, unless it's a misprint, of course. So I would consider that more towards moderately played. Moving on, we will look at more versions. I just wanted to check on that for me personally. Platinum gold. I don't know why, and this is going to be controversial. I probably shouldn't tell people that I like this card, but I actually do like the platinum rare. And it's the only platinum card I like for whatever reason. I hate platinum rares. It's the worst rarity that they've ever printed. But I actually do like these. These are 15. That's not too bad, although I wouldn't pay more than 8 for this. But I don't know. They look all right for some reason. It's not my favorite version of Effect Veiler. I still like the ultimate rare, of course. Well, that's obvious, but I still would rather have the original print, of course. But I think if my second pick would probably be the platinum rare. Dual Saga looks good. I've had these in the past. Let's see what their price is going for. $9. That's really not bad. You do go up to like $11.50 after that, but there's not any play sets available, which is the problem. Yeah, there's not, just the only play set's like $30 per card. All right, let's see what else there is. Oh, and this one is one of my favorite copies as well, and it's been cheap in the past. It's a super rare, like promo that came in Order of Chaos, and these are decently cheap. They've never really been that expensive. $3.85 for light play. They have been cheaper than this. I think I got mine when it was back when it was like $1.50 to $2. When we go to $4.20 and then bottom out at $4.55. One problem you will note with this is it is really, really hard to find somebody. Let's do that. To find somebody that has like 2 or 3 copies of this. So yeah, realistically, you can get it from, I don't know why this guy doesn't have a gold star. He must just have been on here for a long time, but doesn't sell that often. I would probably buy from him. Oh, he has negative in the past. I guess you are risking it a little bit then. Light plays, I try to stay with gold star sellers. Not that I trust that it'll come in better condition, because I have had a lot of trouble with that as well. But I do trust that they'll take care of me if I'm not happy with the condition of the card. Yeah, so there's not really any play sets available of a decent condition card. And I would recommend just getting this in near mint and skipping the whole light play, because it's really not that much more expensive. I'm gonna I have to clear that limited filter. That's really all that's here. We did just get one in Albaz Strike. I'm gonna clear the filter and see what these are going for, because you could get these in bulk. $1.15. I'm actually going, and you can get 585 here for $1.16. Let's see if you can get them for a little bit cheaper. 95 cents here, ideal 808. You can get up to 41 copies, and that's the cheapest you're going to get. Like I said, always, if you want to get a bunch of copies, make sure you always do item price only, because the shipping cost doesn't matter as long as it's not like, $20 or something. But yeah, that's the best deal. I think that's a great pickup, honestly, but you could probably wait longer for more of these structure decks to be opened up. But if you're going to buy bulk, I wouldn't wait too long, because those can disappear. The only other version I care about is going to be the Dual Devastator ultra rare, $3.30, and then we're heading back up towards $3.50. I do want to see if you can get a playset here, because these aren't a bad version to get. They look nice. For whatever reason, this is the problems with Mac. See, I'm trying to scroll on here, but it just doesn't work. There we go. I just had to click into it, I guess. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. I need to get rid of this item price only. $6 basically. No, because I wouldn't do that, honestly. That's not too bad for 5. But yeah, unfortunately, these will probably never be cheaper, or like any of these hollow versions. There's not many hollow versions of Effect Veiler, so if you want them, go get them. I highly advise that you keep hollow versions of every hand trap pretty much. Let's see. Next is Artifact Lancia. We have a secret rare here, market price $13.73. These have been going lower and lower on listings. $10 light play first edition for here. If you want to get it, that's really, really good. There's some French ones here too for $9.49. I'm kind of interested. That looks dope. I would definitely pick that up. One thing to be careful though, if you personally like foreign prints, if you're buying it, just kind of make sure that if it's something you really want to have forever, because chances are you're not going to make money on it unless the card just goes berserk. Like if this went to like $30, then you could probably, make some money on it for sure. But usually the foreign copies can sell for a meta card like this for, a couple bucks cheaper usually. But if it's like, say if it's like Malicious Bane, like that card's going to be like 30 to 40% cheaper than the English print, just because people want to have that forever and they want the English version. Other versions though, everything is kind of getting lower on listings for this card. So we got the ultra rare from Dual Devastator, market price of $1.80. We'll check on this, and this is really the only other version I care about. The premium gold, it's a little bit above $2, $2 to $3, but just stay away from that. You're better off to go with the Dual Devastator. We're at $2 for these. We have a bulk here for $2, $4.87. Let's see with the item price only, if there's cheaper ones here. Not really for bulk, because if you could get like 20 of these at $1, that would be really good. We went over I also want to mention, we already went over DD Crow, so we're going to skip that. Ash Blossom, I mean, everybody always looks at that. I just kind of wanted to stay away from that. But if you wanted to know, I did look it up. The secret rare first edition is going for $120, which is, in my opinion, still really good, because that is one of my favorite secret rares of all time. It just looks really, really good. But I would stay away from unlims on that, because a lot of people want that in ultimate rare, and I think Konami would be stupid if they never print it in ultimate rare. Time will tell, but I think that one day we'll get it in ultimate rare. That's all for Artifact Lancia. I would just make sure you have yours at some point, but I don't really see this card seeing play this format. It's just some weird interactions really with Despia. Because like, yeah, they want to banish their cards, but they can kind of play around it. It's not devastating. Like if Phantom Knights was the top deck, absolutely this card would be great. But it's really not. Honestly, it's sadly enough, and I haven't really talked about it, Phantom Knights is, I would say, kind of knocked back down to like tier 1.5, tier 2. It's just not doing well representation wise, which I'm actually kind of happy about, because I think that's going to help them in the ban list season, like maybe past the ban list. It was like towards the beginning of this format, it was looking like, they were getting like 25% to, 20 to 30% of tops. And it was looking pretty dire for my deck. I was thinking they were going to hit torn scales to 1, but I might get lucky and make buy. As for like the artifact engine, as far as like artifact, scythe, and Dagda, I really don't care, honestly. I've thought about cutting it. It's just not that good, honestly. I really don't enjoy playing it. It makes the game really boring. Like if everything goes off perfect with that card, which a lot of times it doesn't, you get droplet or whatever, your opponent can't play. And I mean, like, I guess you win, but like, why are you showing up just to win? I don't know. I get it. I do like to win. I like to get OTS packs. Ideally I'm, getting first or second place every time I go to locals. But I don't know, at that cost, I'm like just not enjoying myself. Next is Nibiru. Pretty much all copies are going for $15, except for the ultimate rare at $173. I think that that's a decent pickup. It's just going to age really well. This card's ridiculous. Yeah, it's not really seeing play right now, not too much. But with Crossout coming in, I would be surprised if people don't at least play one copy of this in their deck, because why not? Even when I'm playing Crossout, I've never been a big fan of playing 3 Nibirus. I did when I played Prank Kids about a year ago, I guess, year and a half. It was when they were at full power without the adventure token, but pure power, like pure, but at like full power. I don't know why it was hard to say that, but if you're going to not get the ultimate rare, which is perfectly fine, I don't have these. I don't know if I'm planning on getting these. There's just higher priority cards for me, even though I do think like this is an insane investment. I think you would really, it just really wouldn't be too smart to get one of these that's not the original print. These are $15, super cheap for what it is. In fact, I'll probably start buying more and more of these. Usually I kind of stick aside some money that I want to put into specific cards. Like let's say it's Nibiru, and I'm like, okay, I would like to put in $100 investment in Nibiru's. What I'll do is pick up like a playset at a time and try to see if I can get it for better prices, but not necessarily buy them all at once. But at $15, I would be comfortable buying all of these at once. But if you look at any of the other versions, they're like as expensive, which just doesn't make sense to me. Like this is technically more expensive, but at least at the same price. Like, why would you get this? The only reason I can see this is that people just prefer regular secret rare to prismatic, but I don't know. I think the prismatic just looks insanely good. I actually have some, so I'll show you. I know, of course, probably most of you have seen them. It's not that rare of a card, but if you're a player that wants to get these and you haven't seen them in person, let's see if I can get a good picture. Still going to deal with glare. It's a little bit better. Doesn't really, I can't really show the foiling because if I get the foiling in the light, then the glare just goes nuts. But yeah, if you're gonna get one of these, get this, and definitely don't get the gold rare. Like, please don't get the gold rare. I get it. I've had one before. The outline looks kind of cool. If you just wanted one for your collection, that's fine. But a lot of these come in not very good shape. I am curious though, can you get a misprint of this? Because that would be something I think is pretty cool. I'm gonna go pretty far in here because I am assuming. Can I search with? I think I can filter for pictures. Listings with photos. Yeah, let's do that. Let's see. I mean, this guy's not rated too well. No, it's not really it's just a regular version. I bet you could find them on eBay. I don't really know what they're going for. But yeah, we can move on from there. I don't want to spend too much time on this. Everybody knows what Nibiru does. I just kind of wanted to point out like they're all the same cost. So like be smart, and I'm gonna move this back up so you can see me. Be smart and get the best version. Next, anyways, is Fantasme. Not going to see play this format, definitely not. But just a really good card in general. I've sold mine. I'm going to be picking them back up tomorrow because they're doing another 10% back event for what is it? Subscribers, for TCG player subscribers. But yeah, I had the ultra rares. I might get the secret rares. We are going to look at the secret rares partially because I want to know personally, but you know, some of you might have this card and want to know what they're going for. So light play unlim 22, 23 for near mint unlimited. I'm gonna be honest with you. This, like, I'm usually not like too much of a stickler on unlimited cards, but I would stay away from the unlims here. Because pretty much the only chance for you to make quite a bit of money on an unlim Fantasme is if this card is seeing play in like 50% of decks, and there's just not enough copies on the market. Lightly played first edition, 26. Yeah, see, like, you're paying $3 more to get that first edition stamp. Definitely go for that. We're gonna see if somebody has a play set. Okay, here's 2 here for 29, 3 here for 30. 30 is not bad. 30 is definitely worth it. This can definitely go up. I'm not going to put a price tag on this, or like as far as where I think it could go. I just don't think it's going to go lower. Like, I definitely don't think it would go any lower. but it might not go much higher for a little while, like maybe steadily climb a little bit. People just aren't thinking about this card right now, and that's the truth of it. Not that this card's not good. There's just, you know, a lot of cards are really expensive right now, and people want cards that they need cards basically, and so their focus is going to be on the cards that they need to play right now. Whether that means selling this card and getting, say, Ash Blossoms. I mean, most people should have Ash already, but let's just use that for an example. People will offload these to get the card that they need, thinking that they can go back and buy these when they need them, which is, I'm always telling you, is a bad idea. I wouldn't do it. Usually what I'll do is the opposite. When something gets bought out, even if I do need it, depends on how bad I need it. Like if it's at like Ash Blossom, I'll say I had 5 copies of it. I sold every one of them except for 1 copy because it was bought out to like $35, which it still is. And this was recently. And then I have 1 copy left in case I want to play Crossout, but I'm just going to wait till the Megatons and get them then. I don't really play Ash that often. I don't think it's that high impact of a card, but I also don't play decks that can play a ton of hand traps, at least not right now. I have in the past. And I probably will with Despia. When I get that deck together, I'll probably play more towards like maybe 6 to 8 hand traps if I can. Right now, I think most of my decks run like 3 to 5 hand traps and like Forbidden Droplets. But we might see like Forbidden Droplets kind of go down and play. It already kind of is. We have seen the price dip, of course. If you do want Droplets, it's still a great card. But what I would do is make sure you don't have any copies when the Megatons come out, or even close to the Megatons come out. If you do, like the Ultimate Rare is fine. It probably won't dip much. It might dip a tiny bit, but I wouldn't expect to dip more than $20 or so. But both of the secret rares will go down in price for sure. But the original print will maintain a much higher price point than the reprint will. I'm not going to I'm not going to say what the original print's going to go down to, because every rule that I usually know for reprints is kind of thrown out the door when it comes to Rise of the Duelist. Like you pretty much just can't hurt it. Of course, like the ultra rare, like traps and stuff, those went down a lot just because there was a lot more of those available in there. But like the secret rares, for the most part, that haven't been banned or phased out of the meta, just kind of maintain their price point. Like even if you look at something like Nadir Servant, they got an ultra rare reprint that was really easy to pull. It's also limited to 2. It's still like $23 to $30, which is pretty good. Like you would expect it to be a little bit less than that for sure. But I guess the best example would be Forbidden Droplets, because it literally didn't flinch when it got a reprint. But even like if you look at Triple Tactical Talents, which I think is another card to go get, it dipped from like 120 to like now at like 55, I think, which seems like a big dip. But I mean, you rarely see cards that are above like the $50 mark, like after a Megaton reprint. It just doesn't happen that often. There are like certain like exclusions to that. I was gonna say Access Code, but it actually didn't get reprinted. But moving on, like I'm just, I guess the moral of the story is Rise of the Duelist is just crazy, and it's really hard to predict. That's why I just like buying into Rise of the Duelist cards, because it probably is my favorite set of the last 2 or 3 years. It's definitely the most competitive set. But I guess Burst of Destiny is kind of a close second. Not close. They're definitely second place for most competitive, but not a close second. Like Rise of the Duelist was crazy. Anyways, back to the card at hand. The ultra rare is also really good to get. It looks super clean. As far as the super rare, stay away from that. Get the ultra rares. It's just a lot better buy. But these are like $4, maybe like up to $5. $5, 0 shipping, and you can get as many as 8 copies. Trying to think if it would be good to buy 8 copies. I would probably buy 6, because that's a play set for me and a play set to sell. I don't know that $5 is gonna be the best price. Like maybe it can go a little bit lower over the course of the next couple of months. But yeah, I'm gonna be looking to get a play set of some form of these. It might be the secret rares, it might be the ultras. Gamma, I'm not going to talk about this. You know, it's good. It's seeing a lot of play. I just wanted to check in and see how the prices are doing. Pretty steady here. I'm going to check on the gold rare because that's like kind of a good price gauge to see. Still at the $5 mark. Pretty solidly. Like I said, though, just make sure you have yours, but that's all I'm going to say for that. Next is Kentragina. This is not a hand trap, as you know. It's actually a fusion monster, but I was telling people to get these at 75 cents. Like a month back, and then like 2 days ago, 2 or 3 days ago, I said when it was like $1 to $2, I said, you know, you still can go ahead and get it. I think it might even been like $1.25 to $1.50, something like that. But now they're at $3.15. Quite a few from this store here, but don't be surprised if this just continues to move on up, because it's an ultra rare one, but it's also one of the best. Well, it right now is currently the best extra deck monster in Dynamorphia, and I think it still will be even after the, I don't remember what this is called, but it's the skill drain card, the one that's like your boss monster. It's still technically better than that, even though that card is good. It might be a secret rare, so we don't know, but I think as far as effects, this has some pretty good effects. Like, of course, it's probably like almost evenly matched with that card, because you get to, you know, use like an Albaz like effect on this to fusion summon your other boss monster. That's a walking skill drain, and then you also get to gain attack points based on where your life points are at, which I think, yeah, you lose attack equal to your life points. So like usually what you do is get down somewhere in between like 1,000 and 2,000. So usually it's pretty strong. I think usually when I get it out, it's usually like around 2,000 to begin with, but then it ends up getting to around 3,000. But if you end up using like other cards to drain your life points, or like you don't have your stealth Bergia out, it just keeps getting stronger because you're gonna have to keep halving your life points. I have gotten this card almost up to the 4,000 mark, because I've definitely played where I have like 25 life points left, which is pretty crazy. Theresia is still up there. I'm just going to quickly cover this and make sure that it's not down. Okay, so it's $29. Still, yeah, still around the $30 mark. I don't know that it's really going to go anywhere. I kind of theorized that it might slow down temporarily now that it just got bought out, just because people that had them that don't want them are going to want to sell them, and big sellers are going to, you know, capitalize on this. But to be honest with you, I think it could just stay up in price until we get the new support, and at that point it's going to be completely dependent on, does the deck flop or does it do good? If it does good, then we'll see this card continue to move on up. But from this price point, I would hardly doubt this card goes above 40. Like that would be insane to get to 40, but we really need to see some results in the actual TCG before this card continues to go up. Because it's not like this card is, or this deck is like killing it in the OCG. Like it's definitely getting some tops, it's doing well, I'll say, but it's not like a dominant deck over there, at least not yet to my knowledge. Next is Deepsea Diva. We covered these earlier this week when they were, or maybe over the weekend when they were like $5. Looks like now it's $5.69 for light play unlimited, bottoming out to $7 for near mint unlimited. Pretty expensive at this point, but there's not a lot of copies here, to be honest with you. I'm not seeing any stacks. It's mostly singles. There's 2 here for $7, roughly $8 here, $8.74. I mean, this would not take hardly anything to go to $10. But yeah, just make sure you have your copies if you want to. Like pick this up, I think that's fine. Because at this point, like if you want to pick these 2 up at $5, that's fine. But yeah, this if you didn't know, this is not really, because I've kind of found out because I did some research. I wanted to figure out why level 2 water monsters were going up, and dug into the new deck that will be coming out this fall, I believe in August. It's the Splight archetype. And I think the OCG has it now, but I'm not 100% sure. But there's a lot of speculation that that will be a tier 1 deck. I don't really listen to people when they say that it's going to definitely be a tier 1 deck, like in general. But I have like did some research and went and saw some test games where they're playing against current decks now in the meta versus like what the deck will be when it comes out. And honestly, it's really, really strong. And probably will be a competitive strategy that gets some tops. I'm not going to say that it's going to be tier 1, but it definitely could be. I'm going to kind of need to see more, and then also kind of see how our format shapes up with the sets that we're going to be getting here soon. But in general, I don't really care about the Splight deck is cool. Maybe I'll have a deeper look into it and pick it up when it comes out. We'll kind of see. If it's like really high rarity, I'm not that interested. But if it's like a decently budget, more on the budget side, I'll pick it up. I usually do. But besides that deck at all, I would just make sure that you have these, because there's really not that many holo versions. We've already talked about this, so I'm just going to briefly glance to make sure or to see where everything else is at. The commons are still available if you just need one. El Dorado, probably not a bad version to get for like pennies. The Dual Saga 13 and the Turbo Pack is $250. Don't spend $250 on the super rare. Just a bad idea. This was like $45 to $50 sometime in the last year and a half. It's just kind of ridiculous. And it's Turbo Pack. It's not Champion Pack, which obviously this isn't too new of a card for Champion Pack, but it's, I think for Turbo Pack, that's a little expensive for super rare. Turbo Pack is still amazing, but still a little expensive. Moving on, we're going to go into some of the, there's only like 2 at this point, 2 picks that I have for Ghosts from the Past to get now. There possibly could be more, but like I said, there's like 200 cards in that set. So I kind of had to go by best selling to see what's doing well. So I didn't have to like scroll through 200 cards. But from what I saw, things are still a little on the expensive side, at least on TCG Player. But Manju, the 10,000 hands, is, there's some copies here for 84 cents. I think that's pretty good, honestly. This card's always a couple dollars, and this is like the first holo print we've had in a while. We will take a look at other prints, but I don't know how many holo prints this card actually has. It's got 1 super rare at market price $4, but it has come down with this reprint announced. Got a common recently. We have a dual terminal version, which is honestly probably not a bad one to have either. But in general, they're all like, you know, dollars. We have a couple of cheaper ones. Dark Revelation, I'll see what that one's at. I think besides the dual terminal though, this will technically be the highest rarity. These are like $325. So honestly, yeah, I would just pick these up because at 84 cents, maybe don't go crazy. Like maybe just pick up a couple of them if you already have other cards in your cart from that seller. But even if you don't want to get these now, you want to see where if they go to like a quarter, which they definitely could. Definitely just keep your eye on this card because this card's always worth a couple bucks. Next is Retaliating Sea. We saw this card get bought out not too long ago, not this copy, but when this card hasn't been announced yet. I think the other Retaliating Seas were like towards 20 bucks. These are 35 cents. And honestly, just worth getting at this point because I just doubt this card can go any lower, maybe like to 20 to 25 cents. But I mean, at that point, you're talking about 15-cent difference. So I would get these. They do go to $2 at the end of the page, but these are still all pre-sales. But I think 35 cents is really good. I am going to be ordering mine tomorrow. I'll probably just go ahead and get 12 copies because that's like $4. And then quickly, I had something else to mention as well. So if you wanted to go ahead and order your Hulk, pre-order your Hulk of Fibrax, Gamer's Choice does have like some of the cheapest prices I've seen so far looking through like third-party sellers that aren't like that sell, like have their own website. They have their Hulks for $8. And then they also have Ghost Ray or Dark Magician Girls for $6.50, which is pretty dang good. Like if they could give you a near mint for $6.50, I would say go for it. We might see them like settle a little bit lower, not right when the set comes out, but probably like within a couple of weeks, it might touch like $5.50. But I would say $4.50 is like the absolute lowest I could see that card going, unless it's not like short printed as a ghost. Like if it's, we're seeing a lot of them being pulled, which it looks like so far. It doesn't seem like, I still haven't seen like, you know, tons of cases open yet. I've only seen, you know, the displays that people have opened on YouTube. It didn't seem like it was like a couple of people got them. So it's not that super hard to pull as far as I could tell, but that really doesn't give you any kind of idea of how hard it is to pull. Like statistically, it's not significant. You need to see somebody open like, you know, 6 to 10 cases to really get an idea. Really more, ideally you'd want to have like 100 cases to pull from at least, of, you know, group data to really get an idea of what's short printed and what's not. But real quickly, we'll kind of see where the top end of this set is at. I didn't mean to click that. Yeah, the super is like $3 now. I would still wait to get that, but honestly, I wouldn't mind having the super rare either. But for 35 cents on this, I mean, you're just not going to beat that. Where'd it go? All right, there it is. All right, so the displays are going for 80. Not too bad. If you wanted to get one and you are a TCG player subscriber, go ahead and get it tomorrow because you will get $8, a little over $8 back on it, which is going to pay for a month subscription, especially if you're getting more than that. So not too bad. The Albers are going for 45. These are going, I think, for a little bit cheaper, like quite a bit cheaper. I think these are $25 on Gamer's Choice as well. Like I said, again, I think these will settle out to like $15, like maybe like 20 to 22, 25 max, I think. But if you just didn't want to risk it, you could go get them for $25 on Gamer's Choice if you want. Just make sure, like, whenever you're doing these pre-sales or shopping on TCG Player in general, if you're spending more than a certain amount, you know, check around and see what the deals are. And, you know, if you're not sure where to look, just hit me up and I'll take a look for you, try to get you the best deal. Mini boxes at $19.20. I mean, you might as well just go get it from Target at that point and not worry about someone pulling all the ghost rares from a set and then just selling the additional boxes they have. Dark Magician Girl, $7.90. Do not pay that. Please don't pay that. That's way too much. You can get it. It's not like long-term, not too bad, but you're just going to be able to get a lot better deal on it. And then you don't have to worry about, you know, price dips and stuff in the future as much if you get it at a real low price point. How going for 14? Like I said, you can get it for 8, you know, on Gamer's Choice. There's probably other websites that have it for cheaper as well. Tragedy, $2.50 is outrageous. Like, don't spend more than $1 on this. Galaxy Soldier, like you still need to wait for this for a little while. And Heat Soul for $29. I'm pretty sure that the Heat Soul was going for like $15 on Gamer's Choice. For $15, I probably would pick it up, honestly. I'm still going to wait for most of these cards. The only cards I'm going to be looking to pick up early is Retaliating Sea. I'm still going to wait probably a little bit on Manju, just because it's only going to, you know, spike up to like maybe 2 or 3 over a year. So it's not like I'm without worried about getting it at the right time. I'm just going to wait and see what happens. Ideally, I'd like to pick those up for like 30 cents if I can. I'm just pointing it out if you want to play Manjus, or you know, if it's a card that you were interested in the set, you can get them for 85 cents. But I do think we can maybe see them a little bit cheaper. Retaliating Sea, I just don't think it will be much cheaper. Moving on. Oh yeah, see, all these cards are still pretty expensive. And these are selling. Like, people do want these Manjus. Like, it's on the first page of best selling. We're gonna look at the high end too and see if there's anything else. Sphere Mode at 189. Just keep waiting, it'll drop. Heat Soul, like I said, you can get it for cheaper. These elemental hero cards are gonna really bottom out hard because it's more of a collector's card. It's good, but it's just still like it's a hero card. It's not going to be, you know, game changing. So I think you will probably be able to get these for under $5. I don't know too much about it other than just like usually like these ultra rare hero reprints just don't do very well. Just look at like one of the best hero cards we've had in the game. Or two of them, which is Malicious Bane and Adjusted Gold. They got secret rare reprints and they're both under $10, well under $10. Rainbow Dragon, like I said, do not get that this price. It doesn't look like they have info on the other Ghost Rares, but it's probably because they haven't sold yet. But that's okay. We'll take a look whenever this set drops. I'm not too worried about covering these other than just saying like, don't pick them up yet. Just keep waiting. But other than that, that's all I have for you. Like I said, I will be doing a giveaway for a first edition Duelist Alliance pack whenever I drop that video or the next video I market watch that I do with the White Mexican. But you can also like and subscribe here and comment and still be eligible. But the reason I'm saying is I won't be considering people for winning this pack until we do the next video, which I said will probably be sometime next week when we do that video. But anyways, this is kind of like the cards that I wanted to go over. I know some people wanted me to go over like the original Secret Rare Ghost Girls, even though I didn't go over Ash Blossom. Like I said, there's no reason to. But other than that, a couple things to note. I have been like extremely busy at work, like ever since I worked over the weekend, and I've been working 16-hour work days this week. Finally today, I got off at 5 again. Like I finally wrapped up the audit I was working on. But with that being, I guess back it up a little bit, sorry. So the point I was going with that is I haven't been able to watch too much what's going on in the market watch. I've listened to a few market watches to hear, like the Ghost Girls got bought out, and I did realize, I showcased that some of the level 2, rank 2 monsters have been getting bought out. But other than that, I'm not too familiar with like recent developments over the last couple of days, just because I've been super busy. Of course, I knew about the Dynamorphia stuff because I love that deck. But let me know if I missed anything or anything crazy that's going on right now. And as always, I'm going to, or not as always, I've started this recently. I'm going to pin a comment underneath here and asking you what cards I should go over next. Just go ahead and start posting cards there. I'm not sure what my next video will be because I am going on a trip tomorrow. So I won't be back in town for at least until like the end of the weekend, but I'm probably gonna bring my laptop with me. So there's a chance that I might do a video while I'm gone. But yeah, start collecting cards in there that you want me to go over, and I will go over them as soon as possible. But thanks for watching. I will see you guys next time. And if I don't see you before the weekend, have a good rest of your week and a good weekend. Thanks for watching.